Hi there, Dana Alexander from Prestige Dog Grooming School and the Everyday Pet Groomer. I'm just going to pop on with our last dog of the day here. We have a little poodle cross, and I just want to show you guys my fundamental face tips. These are the tips that I teach all of my students, the step-by-step process I teach all of them that helps you have a successful face every single time. Of course, there are more advanced techniques and more advanced ways of doing faces for the future, but this is the fundamentals, the fundamental steps you should follow for every face to get that symmetrical face and to not feel so overwhelmed doing faces. So this is the techniques that we teach here and the fundamentals we build off of. Again, you can of course grow from these into more advanced faces, but this is kind of where we fundamentally start with our students. So I'm gonna flip you over to the other cameraman and we'll get started here. Okay, so we've got our little guy here. So I'm gonna take a couple notes first. I like to take note of their ears. This guy's ear set is extremely high and into his head. So my options here are kind of limited. If we want to have a nice looking face, we need to have his ears and top head hair come together. So I don't want to create a separation because see, if I start to separate this guy, see how far in, this is the top of his ear set. We're going to end up with a mohawk down the center of his head. So a couple little things like that to take note of. So in this case, I know I'm going to make the head and the ears be one piece. The key to any good face, especially when you're starting out in the basics, is to make sure that your head and your neck are two separate things. So when I look on a side view, the ideal head is round from nose to the ear. So you notice we're not quite long enough to create a perfect circle, but we're gonna grow to that. So we're gonna not take too much off here as we grow this guy out from wherever he's been getting groomed before. He's quite flat on the top for the size of his muzzle. But always if you look at the side view, nose to the front of the ear, that should be a circle. Then when you look from the front, it should be bottom of the jaw around as a circle. That's kind of your ideal face. So if we're going with that, you can see in the front here, we again don't have enough hair on the top to create this circle, okay? But just things to note so I know kind of how to sculpt this going forward as we grow him out. Things to note. So your clippering has to be ideal first. We have to get this to blend. So I'm gonna start right at the base of his skull, and I feel his skull right against the edge of my clippers, and I'm gonna wrap right around those ears, okay? You have to set in your head to know what you're scissoring first. I'm gonna come around this side, same thing. I'm gonna feel that base of his skull, and then I'm gonna feel the base of his skull and his ear on the side of my clipper, okay? Wrapping all the way around. What that does is when I come and flip his ear over, I can see where I'm starting to come in. Now I'm gonna look from the base of the ear for my circle. I'm gonna come straight in. Straight in. See how now I have coming in from the bottom. I'm gonna take a bit of his chin out. I like very short chins and faces. Coming around, we're gonna do the same thing. You see from the back, I can see where my clipper came in. So then I'm starting at the base of the ear, that circle. I'm gonna come in, straight in. And so what that does for us is look how we have a head and a neck and body. As soon as you're able to have a head and neck and body, you're gonna have a much easier time figuring out this face. If you're trying to make a face into this giant scruffy neck and body that you haven't figured out yet, you're gonna really, really struggle. If you guys are people that love to do the faces first, then at least go set in your neck and do your neck clipping before you do your face. Just give us 2 seconds, guys, to just talk to our customer here. Just need about 5 minutes. Sorry, 5 minutes. And so when we come in with this little guy, my first step that I always teach my students is set that head in with your clippers. Okay, so we've done that. He's all combed out, he's brushed out. We've taken note of some things. We've taken note that we want to blend his head into his ears. that we need to grow a little bit on the top for an ideal look for this dog. So we take a note of all those things. Step number 2 is, for me, is always to set in the sides of my head. So I'm going to comb out the sides. So the second step would be to clip this face with whatever length we want to do this dog's face in, but he's already very short, so we're just going to reshape him. So we're starting at the scissoring stage. So if he were super long and fluffy, I would say come in with a 1 inch, clip his whole face, and this is where I'd be beginning. So after clipping everything, I always start by setting in my sides. So combing out, coming in with my curved shears, and I'm going to angle them towards the ear. We want very short in front of the ear. The ear is going to cover it up anyways. So I'm going to come in, scissor very nice. See how I'm angling? Just dusting out here, but starting to angle in towards the ear. Okay, and right following through. And then I'm just dusting towards myself. Okay, so you're setting in the side. Always recomb, double check your work. Coming in, touching up. I'm also rounding in underneath. And just dusting. Straight up and down. Okay? And notice when I'm scissoring the side of the face, I'm also scissoring anything that's connected to this eye. Okay? What you do to one side, repeat on the other side. So now I'm going to comb this face out. I'm going to do the same thing. Nice and close, angled close into the ear. The angle of your scissors can make a huge difference. I want to be shorter by the ear, but dust into this hair here. So I'm not going to come in straight. I'm going to angle my shear a little bit. And again, I'm dusting even the stuff in the side of the eye. Comb out. Okay. Just dusting. Every time you comb out, you should have less and less to scissor. Okay. So now we have the sides of our head set in. Can you guys see? Sides of the head are set in. At this point, I like to flip the ears back over. Okay, so I can start to see how this is working. So you guys can see where my scissor lines are coming into the top of his head. Okay? My next step is going to be to find his eyes. So I'm going to comb everything down. I'm going to come in with my thinning shears and just clear out by his eye corners. This guy doesn't have much. Looks like maybe it was just shaved out last time wherever he was at. Just coming in. In little bits at a time. These are not very aggressive thinners, so I need to do a lot of work, but you could use a more aggressive thinner if you wanted to. And then I like to angle my shears up and just start dusting the bridge of the nose, just so you don't end up taking it too short. Again, the angle of your shears matters. Okay. Now I've found the inside of his eyes. Now I want to find the top of his eyes. So combing the brow down. We have set the side already. So now I like to start on the side. I set my shears at the length I scissored on the side of the head, and I start to angle to this outside corner of the nose. This works amazing for Schnauzer brows as well. So I'm just taking it off, aimed at the outside corner of the nose. Okay? What we do on one side, we repeat on the other side. Same thing, aim to the outside corner of the nose and dusting over where I already scissored. Stop, stay. So can you see how we're starting to find his eyes nice and clear? And what we're left with is a bit of a mohawk or faux hawk down the center. And what I like to do is angle slightly out and just blend those to where I've already scissored where the eyes are. Back and forth, just blending. See how we're starting to find his eyes without sloping his head back? Now I like to do the top of the head. So I'm going to come in. Again, on this dog, we are going to connect his ears to the top of his head because I know if I come in and separate this, we're going to get this mohawk looking thing, especially when, see when he puts his ears up? See how far it comes in? If we don't connect those ears and head, we're going to end up with like an odd mohawk looking thing down the center of his head. So I'm going to just come in, dust my ears, and I'm just dusting into the top of his head here. So just keep in mind, if you guys struggle on certain heads, it could just be as simple as that he has a very high ear set. And that's what's making it so difficult. Aim his head down. I'm going to get the back looking nice. And remember, we're not taking a lot off the top because we're growing them out. So I'm not going to touch that at all. Just the slightest bit of dusting because we do need to grow this out.
Holly Tom is asking if you can post a link for the shears, please.
I will get Angie Patrician on here. She's the designer with Mike Kitney. And hopefully one of them will pop on here and tell you guys the link to the shears. This is their Sassy Dog line. Sassy Dog. And I have to say the quality of these shears is incredible. Incredible for the price. So I know that they're a little bit back ordered, but I will get them to comment. So guys, look through the comments. Angie and Mike will be in there answering questions about the shears. Okay, so do you guys see how we're coming together here? We got our sides of our head, the top of our head, the back of our head, the eyes. We're looking great. Now we just got to make this muzzle work. Okay? So what I like to do for my muzzles with this fluffy poodle type hair, I'm going to fluff up and then I'm going to round the whole muzzle in. In this case, I'm not doing any Asian fusion or anything. I'm doing more of a sort of a doodle type of look because we want to do a more general face for you guys. You could totally do Asian fusion with this guy if you wanted to though. So I'm just rounding it down, just gently. And a caution with the under the eye hair because sometimes that can just all poke up on you. So caution. Okay, so once I have that tamed in, see how we're more balanced now? My next stage is going to be to lay his head down. So I'm aiming his head down and combing out. Do you guys see how we have the side of our head that we scissored earlier? Now we need to match this. See how this is poofing out? Side of the head, and see how the muzzle poofs out when you look at it from a top view. So I'm aiming his head down. Now I'm gonna come through that part. See, I just have to line the tips of my shears up with where I scissored the side of his head and start coming through the muzzle hair. Okay? Scissoring really is step-by-step, guys. Grooming is step-by-step. And that is the methods that we teach at Prestige Dogging School. See how that's just blending that in? Every step builds on the next step. So same thing here. We're going to aim his head down, pull this out. Do you guys see what doesn't match with what we've already scissored? So then again, I'm going to line up my tips of my shears with the side of my head and start to pull through. Pull through the muzzle hair to blend that in. So we have a nice cohesive haircut. So aiming that head down, looking from a top view. And when you're pulling it through with thinning shears, then it just blends and wraps it under nicely for you. Okay, so let me brush that out. See how we're looking? See from a top view, we're starting to be more cohesive and blended together. Because you'll see a lot of groomers that end up with these really big muzzles and then this head's more sculpted in. We don't want that. Everything should match. Everything should blend together. Now I'm going to come with my finishing shears and just sharpen everything. Just going to sharpen that jawline. I like them to have a very clear distinction between their head and their neck, but you could be more blended if you wanted to. If it was a longer haircut, you could do a longer style. Again, there's lots more advanced techniques, but these fundamentals will help you so that you get nice balanced faces every single time. And the last thing I do is deal with the bottom jaw. Remember, I took a lot of it out, but I did leave my goatee at the front here. I'm just going to come in and now blend that in. Okay, so we're going to put his ears back. Again, I'm going to lightly dust everything with my finishing shears. There's a bit, see, every dog is not the same. See how we have some hair missing here and more thick on this side? So we need to come in and alter that. You have to always look side to side. Their faces, sides of their faces and the way their hair grows is going to be different on each side. So you have to alter your groom to make it all match. And again, I'm just using my curved finishing shears now, and I'm just dusting everything. I've already set it all in with my thinning shears. I just need to dust everything just to sharpen it up a bit. But those are the fundamentals and steps I follow and teach the students to follow for every face, to get a nice cute face every single time that's simple, easy to follow, step-by-step process. So every step should build on the next so you have a direction to go. I hope those tips helped you guys out. I'm Dahlia Alexander with Prestige Dog Grooming School, and I'll see you guys next time.